So, what are some related lines? Can't speak. Parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that will never intersect, no matter how far out you look. Now, no matter where I place these lines, a pair of parallel lines will always have something in common. Can anybody inform me, Mr. Barbo, what is the key relationship between parallel lines? What about the slope? Yes. Slopes are the same. If this line has a slope of 1/3, this line slope, I'll put a little like 11, but it's a symbol for parallel lines. This parallel slope is also 1/3. If you have a slope that's 3, a parallel slope will also be 3. Okay? So, any set of parallel lines, slopes are equal. Perpendicular lines are lines that when they intersect, they create a 90-degree angle. Anybody remember the relationship between any set of perpendicular lines? Mr. Mora?
One is like the inverse of the other.
Not inverse. It's almost the reciprocal. So like if this was a slope of, let's just say 2, a reciprocal slope would be 1/2, right? So let's think about a slope of 1/2. 1/2 would be up 1 to the right 2. So up 1 to the right 2 would kind of be like that.
Negative.
It's the opposite reciprocal. That's exactly right. Okay? The slopes of perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. What that means is if this is a slope of 2, this slope of a perpendicular line, I'll use this kind of upside down uppercase T for the symbol for perpendicular. Slope of this perpendicular line would be negative 1/2. If we have a slope of 1/3, a perpendicular slope would be the reciprocal. The reciprocal is 1 over and the opposite. So 1 over 1/3 is the same as 1 times 3 over 1 or just 3. Reciprocal is just flip the fraction. Or if you have a whole number, pretend like it's something over 1. And then when we flip 2 over 1, it becomes 1 over 2. Okay, that's what the reciprocal is. And this would have to be a negative 3 if that slope is 1/3. If we have an easy one like 2/3, the perpendicular slope would be negative 3/2. If I have a slope that is 0, so we're talking about a horizontal line. What would be a perpendicular line to a horizontal line? A vertical line. Discuss with your neighbors, what's the slope of a vertical line? Is it 0 as well? Undefined is correct. Okay, if we think about this as a fraction, we can think of 0 as 0 over 1. 0 divided by anything is 0. Okay, but 0 over 1, we could take any number divided by 1. It's what it is. If I flip this and take the opposite of it, we'd have negative 1 over 0. We are not allowed to divide by 0. Okay, a vertical line has a slope that is undefined. What does it say? Thou shalt not divide by 0 is a 10 commandment of math. I'm glad we were reading those. Some of them are funny. Okay? Fantastic. Now, I got a bunch of sets of lines. I need to determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now, we could go through a lot of different processes to find the slopes. We could use the x and the y intercepts by plugging in zeros to find the slopes. We could just find 2 points and then use the slope formula. But the most efficient way to find the slope of a line would be to quickly solve an equation for y and put an equation in y equals mx plus b form. And just by solving for y, you can visually see what the slope of the line is, how quickly we're going up and over as we're changing our x's. So we've had to do this before. We'll have to continue to do this more. We need to isolate the y for each of these equations. You can write 6 plus 3x. I can write 3x plus 6. You can divide by 2. I like to think about distributing a 1/2. 3 times 1/2 is 3/2. 6 times 1/2 is 3. So this has a slope of 3/2. Let's look at the slope of 6x minus 4y equals 8. I will add the opposite. This is a negative 4y. Make sure we understand that the minus is staying with that 4y. I will subtract the 6x or add negative 6x. I have negative 6x plus 8 is equal to negative 4y. Divide by negative 4 or multiply by negative 1/4. I like to think about distributing that negative 1/4. It would end up being negative 6 over negative 4x plus 8 divided by 4 is 2, so this would be a negative 2. Now I can simplify negative 6 over negative 4. Well, negative divided by negative is a positive. I can divide or multiply the top and the bottom. Divide by 2 or multiply by 1/2, making this a 3 over 2. So this slope is 3/2 because this line has a slope that's 3/2 and this line has a slope that is 3/2, and the slopes are the same. These lines are parallel. Let's go and do this one on the bottom left. I changed this from a 2x to an x. Please note on the bottom left, I changed that 2x to an x. Fairly quickly to solve the left one for y, just add negative 8x. I get y equals negative 8x plus 12. The other one, not so easy. I'm going to subtract the x or add the negative x. Know that the negative stays with the 8. I have negative 8y is equal to negative x plus 3. If you'd like to put a 1 here, just to make sure you know that you can move it like that, it's a 1. Then I would divide by negative 8 or multiply by negative 1/8. Now thinking of multiplying by negative 1/8 and distributing in here, maybe this 1 will help us. Because I like to put a number in front of the x. If we divided by negative 8, maybe we have negative x over negative 8. And here this would be negative 3 over 8. Maybe we don't see exactly what the slope is because we don't see a number times x. But if we thought about a 1 being there and distributing the negative 8 to the 1, negative 1, we know this is positive 1/8 times x. Or whenever you have some number divided by x, like x over 3, we know we can rewrite things as 1/3 times x. We will continue during Genius Hour.